Hi everyone, this is Tammy, owner of Worthy, Worth It, and Priceless. And today's podcast will be titled It is Time for an Upgrade. So recently I decided that I wanted to get a new sewing machine. And if you follow any of my other stuff, you know I've been actually sewing for almost 10 years. It'll be 10 years next year. So I had the sewing machine that I currently have. I had it for at least about 10 years, basically. And so I was in the market to get a new sewing machine. By the grace of God, I was allowed to get this credit that I could basically get any sewing machine that I wanted. And for me, I was somewhat still trying to go like on the lower scale of getting a sewing machine. Like I didn't want to pay that much or whatever. But anyway, I spoke with the sales rep and I actually got something that was somewhat in the middle. Got the sewing machine a couple of days ago and I started sewing on it today. When I got on the sewing machine, it didn't feel right. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't what I really needed in the long run. So anyway, I decided I'm going to actually return the sewing machine. So I went back onto the website to start hunting for my new sewing machine. And even with that, I was still looking on the lower scale, like even lower than the one that I have, like in the $200, $100 range. And it's like with that, it's like for the most part, I could basically just get that without even needing the credit. Like I can just get that with a basic paycheck or whatever. But as I was somewhat trying to look over the sewing machines and I was looking at the reviews on the sewing machine, I kept seeing that they were saying, oh yeah, the needle breaks. It doesn't hold up well to thick fabrics and this, that, and the third. And I know by the grace of God, like where I want to go in the future with sewing and making pillows and making stuff. So I'm like, okay, this isn't working either. So by God's grace, He led me to this other sewing machine. And it is somewhat on the higher price, but it will be able to hold up and withstand what I need it to do. And it will be an upgrade, a much needed upgrade. And the thing is, I want to encourage you with is don't be afraid to upgrade. We sit here a lot of times and we know where God is taking us, or we have an idea of where we want to go. We have a vision of our future. But the problem is, a lot of times that we're so afraid that God may not be there, or we may fall, or we may fail. That's not what you should do. Don't worry about the future. Don't worry about if God is going to be there or anything. You have to realize that God isn't like people. He will always be there. He's not going to let you down or anything like that. The thing is that you have to have enough faith in yourself and have faith, most importantly, in God, that this upgrade is much needed, which you know that it is, but it's much needed, and that God will carry you right through. You don't have to worry about how this is going to work out or how that is going to work out. You got to know that if God brought you to it, He will bring you through it. Don't be afraid to make that upgrade, make that change in your life, no matter who or what it may be. Like I said, I knew I'm looking at the other sewing machine now, and it was like I was looking at the reviews even on that sewing machine, and they were like, oh, I had to get the bobbin case replaced like 4 times and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, wait a minute. You know what I mean? A lot of times when we don't actually reach our full potential, or we're afraid to reach our full potential, it costs us even more. So not saying that I would keep this sewing machine, but just say if I was to keep it and I would have the same problems as someone else has, like the replacing the bobbin case like 4 times and whatever, it's basically I'm paying the same amount for basically a higher price sewing machine. And with that, it's like a lot of times when we be afraid to believe in ourselves or be afraid to go higher, we're basically costing ourselves. If we just trust and believe in God and know that He's going to make a way, there's nothing that we cannot do. God is giving you everything that you need. Everything that's inside of you is what you need to get to that next level. So believe in yourself, believe in God, and know that it's going to work out for your good. It doesn't matter if you've been doing something for years. It just takes that one time of belief and God to change your whole life. But you will never get there if you're afraid to upgrade, if you're afraid to upgrade your thinking, if you're afraid to upgrade what you have and what you possess. Don't be afraid. Do the work that's necessary. Because for the most part, a lot of times God just wants you to show up. You know what I mean? God may be telling somebody right now, hey, I'm taking you to the next level. It's time to pack. It's time to get yourself together. But you're afraid to go to the next level. Let's not be like Lot's wife. If you read in the Bible, I know the story, but it's like I don't want to go through the whole story right now. But if you read in the Bible about Lot's wife, they told everyone not to look back. She was still she was worried about what was going on behind her, and she actually looked back and turned into a pillar of salt. It's not time to turn into a pillar of salt. It's not time to sit up there and look over our past and say, I don't know if God is going to do it or whatever. He has brought you through everything else that you've been through. So why not trust Him and believe in Him now? Trust and believe in God. Go further than you ever thought imaginable. Now is not the time to give up, quit, or anything. Now is the time to do what God has called you to do, whatever is in your heart and whatever in your mind. And if you are confused about what God has called you to do, talk to God. Ask God what He wants you to do. Have Him guide you. Sit and wait for the answer. Don't sit up there and try to think about what you want to do or whatever, and then you end up messing yourself up in the long run. Trust me, I did it. It doesn't work. But at the end of the day, trust and believe in God. Sit down, and if you don't, like I said, if you don't know what God has called you to or whatever, sit down and be silent and let Him speak to you. And really understand where He's taking you, and even ask for instructions. Like once He guides you there, hey, how do I do this? How do I do that? Because a lot of times people will lead you astray and just leave you there. So God is your best resource for everything. And just basically believe in yourself. Now is the time to upgrade every part of you, because God is here and He is near. So until next time, have a worthy, worth it, and priceless life. And yeah, that's it. Bye.